this chapter will discuss about the program design variables for you in order for you to design a training program for your athletes. Okay, it's very crucial for you to know. And please refer to the book Essential Strength Conditioning, page 439, and you will have a further explanation on that book. But this slide is to introduce you to this chapter in design and training program, right? There are 7 program design variables that should be considered, put attention as a trainer or sport conditioning specialist in order for you to design a training program for your athletes. Okay, never neglect either one of it, because the missing out any variables will make your training program ineffective. Okay, it start with need analysis up to rest period. Okay, right, so we go one by one, but today it's only 2 steps to be discovered, right? The first step is need analysis. When we talk about need analysis, we will talk about the need of the athletes, the need of athletes based on their sports. Okay, we evaluate the athletes sports. Okay, for example, you are going to train conditioning wise for football players, so you have to know what are the movement analysis. Okay, what is the movement analysis, physiological analysis, and injury analysis, right? Movement analysis, you have to understand the sports itself, body and limb movement patterns and muscular involvement. Football athletes, what do you think of the movement? Their movement are more prone to be performed by the athletes. Running, kicking, sometimes heading. So this kind of movement you should understand, so that you can choose the exercise to be inserted in the training program later on. Right. Second one will be the physiological analysis. Which one is more priorities for that sports? I go back again to the football players. Okay. What do you think? Are they prone more put a priority in the strength or power or hypertrophy, or 4 of these? Okay, understanding the need of the sports will lead you better, right? And the third one, yes, do not ever neglect the injury. Okay, analyze the injury that common happen to that sports. Again, we're talking about football, hamstring tear. Okay, hamstring pull, ACL, that's the common injury. If we talk about those who are playing racket sports, they are prone to get injury of tennis elbow, and then maybe the shoulder dislocate, this or that. So understanding the sports by this first step on the analysis will make you understand what's the exercise, what's the important element to be in the training program. Second one will be in the need analysis, assess the athletes. First, you evaluate the sport. Second thing, you assess the athletes. Assessing the athletes to be coached in terms of conditioning by you is consists of 3. Yeah, the first one, you should know what are their training status. Training status meaning that have they ever be in any conditioning program before they're meeting you? Pernah tak dia buat before ni? Then if yes, level of intensity. Do they know how to perform free weight exercises, barbell exercises, or only involve machine? You have to know status, meaning that are they familiar to the conditioning, because you are going to train only the conditioning wise, yeah, sports conditioning specialist. All right, second one, then you assess the athlete's physical testing. You assess the fitness test, and the test that you choose should relate to the sport. This is very tricky. When you talk about tennis, what kind of test that should reflect them? Obviously, it should be 1 RM and 1 RM bench press, and also push-ups. And squats. But if there are more very close skill sports, for example, archer, do you think that they need 1 RM? Maybe it's simple 100 taps. So you have to understand the athlete sports in order for you to decide the test, right? And the result of that movement analysis, we're talking about movement analysis just now, muscular involvement and movement pattern that's very reflective to the athlete sports. The result is to be indicated by the movement analysis. And after the testing, don't forget to compare the result with the norms. Rugby has its own norm. The football players, the norms sendiri lah to indicate that whether your athletes is at their best, which category, poor, excellent, or weak, or yeah, you should know. And then from that testing, from that testing result, we will determine the athlete's strength, the athlete strength or their weaknesses. Sometimes they are very lacking of endurance. So by right, if they are, let's for example, running, cross country athletes, they should be having a high muscle endurance. But in our test, it reflects that, oh, they are quite in fair category of muscle endurance. That from that we can lead us to build a effective training program. And the third one is the primary resistance training goal. Okay, then we decide what's the priority resistance training goal that you as the trainer should achieve. So you should concentrate on one training outcome per season. Don't to be too ambitious. Put every element in one season you want to achieve. Make it very specific. For example, hypertrophy. So that season will improving on the hypertrophy, right? So we go to the next. Next slide. First step. This is only example how you indicate resistance training status. Beginner. How do you know it's beginner? If the training age is just less than 2 months, and if they are intermediate, 2 to 6 months, and advanced more than 1 year. As athletes, even though they are well trained as athletes, but the training age as in the resistance training background, in the conditioning wise, sometimes they're not familiar. So if they're not familiar with that, we can consider as beginner in conditioning. Okay, not in the athletes punya nature dia lah, dia punya dunia to know is only conditioning, right? So you have to understand the resistance training status. Okay, and then yes, know the sports, know the athletes. Evaluate the sports first, then you assess your athletes, right? It's very important because their nature is different. Footballers different, cyclists, swimmer, racket sports. Okay. That's the example of football game by favorite of at all time, Cristiano Ronaldo. So what do you think if you are his sports conditioning? Not sports conditioning. No. Sport conditioning. Yes, sports conditioning specialist. Okay. So what do you think? How to design training program for this guy, right? Itu sajalah ada pengenalan. Right. The step 2, we proceed to the step 2 is the exercise selection. In choosing the exercise, in selecting the exercise, there are two consideration, the sub consideration. First is the exercise type. So what are the exercise types that should you design in the training program? And the second one will be movement analysis of the sport. Remember in the cardiovascular endurance training, I've highlight about the site, specific adaptation to imposed demand. Again, we have to understand the movement of the sports. Choose exercise in the gym conditioning that reflect the movement needed in that sports, because more likely to be a positive benefit to the athletes development of strength in specific. All right. And then we go one by one in the exercise type, because this is more on the more detail needed. Core and exercise exercises, structural and power exercises. I think in the previous, I am not remember. We have discussed sikit lah on the structural exercise and on characteristic. Okay, right. Exercise type. We have two best friend here: core and assistant exercises. What are core exercises? Do not ever confuse core exercises with core muscle. Core maksudnya the main exercise for that sport. If we're talking about core exercise, this is the category of exercise. It recruits one or more large group area. You're gonna big muscles involved, and then involve 2 or more primary joint. Meaning that core exercises are big, large muscle, and then multi-joint, and receive priority when one is selecting exercises because of their direct application to sports. 3 or 4 character core exercises. One, large muscle group. Second, multi-joint, and then it is priority because direct application to the sports. For example, core exercise for football again. If it is multi-joint, then you can consider it is as core exercise for football. Can we give example? Bench press. It is core exercise for football. Can we consider it? Because large muscle group, multi-joint, the elbow joint, shoulder joint, two muscles, large muscle area. So it is core exercise for football. It assists in several movements, for example, throwing in, and then the running activity should have a high endurance of upper body, right? And then the second one will be assistant exercise. Assist. It usually recruit a smaller muscle group, one joint in that single joint, and consider less important. Bukan not important, less. This important, less important. So core and assistant exercises are likely cousins. Core is the big one, multi-joint, direct application to sports. Assistant, single joint, smaller muscle group, and less important. You can give example for these two. Core exercise for football 32, we give example to multi-joint is bench press. And assistant exercise will be biceps curl and tricep extension. Can you see that? It is still important, but because it is single joint and then smaller muscle group, it is to assist the core exercise performance, right? And then another example will be we can give leg pull down. Leg pull down is core exercise for still in football, boleh, because it is a large muscle group, back muscle, and then multi-joint, of course, for the elbow joint, again, shoulder joint, pulling, and then it recruits back muscle. And assistant exercises, we can still giving two examples, tricep and biceps curl. Okay, can you get it? Dan banyak lagi lah example. You can read the book, right? Okay, you know what I'm talking about. And then another one exercise type, still in the step 2, structural and power. Structural exercises emphasize loading the spine. The spine load, direct or indirectly. Direct or indirectly. For example, direct will be Olympic bar squat. Indirectly, squat with dumbbell. The movement going downward. Most of the structural exercises involve standing position. You talk about deadlift, you talk about bend over row, standing. The spine loading happens. So that's very crucial for the performer, the athlete to do it correctly. Locking the back, have the spotters next to you, because the structure involves your spine. Yeah? If anything bad happens to your spine, you know what happened again. Alright, second one will be the exercise type, power exercises. There are structural exercises that are performed very quickly or explosively. These major differences between these two: power exercise, explosive, quick. For example, the clean, power clean, upright row, snatch, perform in very explosive, fast movement. Quality is at most important in performing power exercises. Alright, so you understand structural, squat, deadlift, ulang lagi kan, and kita can go to the example later on. Alright, this one I provide you the video. Spine loading direct will be barbell back squat. Spine loading indirect still happen, indirect, not no loading, indirect. Okay, dumbbell squat. Kita tengok how they do this.
Until your thighs are parallel for traps. Then complete a back squat by pushing your hips and butt back. Continue down until the upper legs are at or just below parallel to the floor. Try to go through your heels, pushing your knees and feet out. Continue over, maintaining tightness head to toe until you return to the top position.
Okay.
To the floor. If you perform the exercise correctly, the front of the knee should make an imaginary straight line with the toes that is perpendicular to the front. Knees are past that imaginary line. If they are past the toes, and you are placing undue stress on the knee, then the exercise has been performed correctly. You need to raise your torso as you exhale, so pushing forward with the your foot, mainly as you straighten the legs again and go back to starting positions. Repeat for the recommended amount of repetitions.
So these squat exercises are my favorite because it recruits almost big, large and small muscle group. If, as you can see, which muscles is involved here: the glutes muscle, the hamstring, the quadricep, even the erector spinae is on the isometric contraction. And then the posture is very good for sports performance because it involves challenging the balance and also the strength of the individual. All right. Yes, if we're talking about these two squat exercise, one is direct loading because the weight is put on the traps muscle and loading the spine happens directly. Even though in the dumbbell squat, loading the spine doesn't happen direct, but indirectly it brings the force downward, and then the spine will be load if it will be loading throughout the movement, upward, downward, right? So these two are structural exercises, bezanya modified by doing the with dumbbell, and one is barbell. All right. Okay, and then this one is our power exercises, famous one, power clean and power snatch. Some of you might familiar doing it because it needs a skillful performer to perform it correctly because it involves explosive and powerful. Let's take a look. So the second power exercises is power snatch. So take a look. Okay, so these two are one of power exercises that I can show you the video. We have many types. As you can see hari itu tadi, I've put that upright row. Okay, right. Okay, this table is about the movement pattern and the related exercises. Ball dribbles, the basketball, the related exercise, the advanced bench press, tricep push down, reverse curl, hammer curl, and then ball kicking, football, unilateral hip adduction, lunges, freestyle swimming, leg pull down, jumping, power clean, jerk, squat, front squat, racket sport, throwing, pitching. So understand the sports and understanding the athletes will drives you to select the exercise that most direct application to the sports core exercise, assistance of it, small muscle, and then the structural exercise that reflect the need or will give benefits in specific. Remember the principle of site specific adaptation to impose demand. The more likely the movement relate to that sport, the more benefits and positive benefit will be transferred. Right, so yes, this on the two steps of 7 variables. Thank you.